Wanda Gág lived and made art according to her own rules. Working in drawing and printmaking in New York in the early 20th century, she was uncompromising in her vision, defying conventions of artistic style and expectations of women at that time. Gág's aim was to capture on paper the feeling and movement of the world as she experienced it. This was Wanda Gág's world.
A place where the landscape moves rhythmically and inanimate objects hum with life. Almost anything is beautiful and drawable if you can only look at it in the right way,
she once wrote. Wanda Gág always knew she wanted to be an artist. She was born in 1893 in the small town of New Ulm, Minnesota. Her parents were immigrants from German Bohemia, and she and her 6 siblings grew up around its language and culture, from German fairy tales to zither music. Though the Gág family's means were scarce, sometimes bordering on extreme poverty, they encouraged their children's artistic inclinations. Wanda drew so much that it earned her the nickname Inky. She never put down her pen. Gág's parents died when she was a teenager, and it fell to her as the oldest child to look after her younger siblings. After attending the Minneapolis School of Art, she moved to New York in 1917 to pursue her dream of being an artist, diligently working all along to send money back home. In New York, she immersed herself in the art scene. She studied at the Art Students League and was one of a number of women artists who were associated with the early Whitney Studio Club. She experimented with various printmaking techniques, her favored medium being lithography. One of Gág's most notable innovations was printing lithographs from sandpaper, a material that brought a dappled texture to the image. Her prints earned increasing recognition throughout the 1920s, admired by artists like Rockwell Kent and Alfred Stieglitz. She eventually became affiliated with the influential Via Gallery, and her career flourished. She exhibited widely, including in 6 annuals at the Whitney Museum in the 1930s and 40s. She was witty and stylish, sometimes lamenting that her new outfits would mean scrimping on money for art supplies. She often talked about her 3 passions in life: gardening, drawing, and sex. She was unapologetic about the many lovers that she had, but she had a steadfast partner in Earl Humphreys, who she eventually married after 20 years of living together. She never had children of her own, feeling that motherhood would hinder her time to work. She was a feminist, a pacifist, and workers' rights activist, illustrating covers for socialist journals like the New Masses. Gág was interested in the modernism and German expressionism practiced by artists of her time, as well as post-impressionists like Cézanne and Van Gogh, whom she revered. While many of her contemporaries worked in pure abstraction, regionalism, or social realism, Gág never fit squarely within any of these movements. She created landscapes and still lives tinged with the fantastical, blossoming trees that fill up the sky like clouds, and plain rooms made strange by flickering lamplight. As a working artist, Gág turned to commercial projects as a way to support herself and her family. Her children's books that she authored and illustrated would become the thing that she was most known for. Published in 1928, her first book, Millions of Cats, was a bestseller at the time and remains the longest-running in-print children's book in American history. But drawing and printmaking, art made on her own terms, was what mattered to her most. Gág lived primarily in the city, but preferred working in the countryside, first in rural Connecticut, later in New Jersey. She liked drawing alone among the hills, which she called the rambly up and downy land. Spring was her favorite season, when new life felt like it was bursting forth. Gág aimed to draw the interconnectedness that she saw in the natural world, always in a state of change, decay, and regrowth. She admired what she called
the glorious fitting together of things, long tenderly juttings out to receive and organize all the helpless fringes and frayed edges of our groping lives. Chaos resolving into harmony.
This is the unity that Gág found beautiful, expressed in her wavy gravy figuration and psychedelic compositions where forms flow together. Wanda Gág rarely drew straight lines. She called this her curve of vision, where the built world seems to bend to the will of the atmosphere around it. Fireplaces tilt, window panes wiggle, and empty chairs vibrate in space. She wrote,
"A still life is never still to me. It is solidified energy. And space does not impress me as being empty."
She built her compositions up with little marks that radiate around her subjects, giving the atmosphere its own electric charge. Wanda Gág died from cancer in 1946 at the age of 53. Up until her death, she never stopped making artwork and making plans, always living by the motto that she had declared for herself at age 17, "Draw to live and live to draw."